Om Bhurбhuvah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayantam. Namaste everyone, so we continue our online satsang on Kriya Yoga, meditation and spirituality. So I'm in front of my computer and the next question is about Yogananda and his mission, let us say, and his wonderful and brilliant books, commentaries to the Bhagavad Gita and to the Gospels, New Testament. We have a wonderful story. Actually, in the very beginning it was just oral tradition, and later on I believe it was Swami Kriyananda, the chief disciple of Yogananda. So he was, he mentioned actually in one of his books about this wonderful event. It goes like that. In 19th century, Mahavtar Babaji and Jesus the Christ, they discussed how to transform spiritually Western, esoteric and spiritual tradition. And when I came to know about this kind of meeting, can you imagine? Absolutely crazy stuff. Just imagine, 19th century, Jesus the Christ discussing with the Mahavtar Babaji, future of Western, spiritual tradition. And that story was an oral one in the very beginning, and it came from Lahiri Baba, and then my guru Yogi Rama, who was a direct disciple of Mahavtar Babaji. He also supported this story. And for us as a human being, it's difficult to imagine how Mahavtar Babaji could discuss. I mean, to have a conference with the Jesus the Christ, I hardly can imagine. Maybe Jesus the Christ physically, came to the Badrinath Himalayas, or maybe, I don't know, in the astral world they managed this conference. I wonder who was there apart from Mahavtar Babaji and Jesus the Christ. But anyway, the discussion happened, and actually, why not? And the decision was to send to the planet Earth very special soul with a special mission, and later on we came to know that special being, the special soul, was Yogananda Paramahamsa. And as you remember that when Sri Yukteswar met Mahavtar Babaji for the first time, and it happened in Allahabad, I believe something like end of 19th century, and he met Mahavtar Babaji. It was a Kumbh Mela festival, and so Mahavtar Babaji, immortal yogi, told to the Sri Yukteswar. At that time, Sri Yukteswar was not Sri Yukteswar. He was Priya Karar. He was a family person. And Mahavtar Babaji told anyway to Sri Yukteswar, let us call him in such a way, I give you a certain very special disciple, and you have to train this special boy, and because later on I'm going to send him to the West with a special mission. And years and years later, Sri Yukteswar became monk, he became great guru himself. And then when Yogananda came, with the help of his, through his clairvoyance, Sri Yukteswar immediately understood, this boy is the one. And he told to Yogananda that, boy, you have a very special mission to carry all that message of the true ancient meditation, yoga, to the West. And it's interesting that Yogananda later on told to his American disciples that, yeah, really I came to the West because I brought to you real message of the Bhagavad Gita and a real message of New Testament as well. And as we know that Mahavatar Babaji himself, he was a main guru for the Jesus the Christ and Buddha and Adi Shankaracharya, for the all greatest masters of humanity. And you know, we know that's also our oral tradition that not only Jesus Christ was initiated actually into Kriya Yoga meditation, but his chief disciples like Apostle John, for example, he was highly advanced meditation, Kriya Yoga meditation practitioner. And even we know about Paul, Apostle Paul, who in the beginning was, fighting with the Christians, and later on he joined this Christian community. And Apostle Paul, according to the Kriya Yoga tradition, he was also a Kriya Yoga practitioner. And so it means the original message of the Jesus in the New Testament is purely esoteric one, purely about meditation and self-inquiry. Okay, if you just read New Testament, especially Gospels, but anyway, okay, letters as well, and Apocalypse also, we have so many general spiritual instruction given by Jesus, and also particular messages about meditation and esoteric tradition. So, and somehow when Christianity became, okay, let us say it in a different way. When message of the Jesus became Christianity as the social religion, people started to take New Testament and explain all that in a very tricky way. And let us not to forget that now we have only 4 Gospels, which are absolutely great. But in the beginning it was something like more than 60 Gospels, and just the fathers of the church, they choose only 4 Gospels, and they created canonical Gospels. And okay, what's happened with the 55? Okay, that's the Gnostic one. And before, okay, let me see, 553, before that, the early Christian communities, they knew about reincarnation, for example. And after 553, the fathers of the church, the bishops, they started they stop all that information and discussion about reincarnation. So it means Yogananda came to the West. It was 1920, and he came with a special mission to bring back actually the true message of Jesus and Bhagavad Gita. That's the reason why we have both his commentaries to the Bhagavad Gita and to the New Testament, and it's brilliant that we have both of them. It means that's the message for us as the Kriya Yoga spiritual practitioners, that okay, all ancient scriptures basically they speak about the same message of self-inquiry and spirituality. And that's the message, is that Kriya Yoga is not a part of this or that religion, because some people think that okay, if you practice Kriya Yoga meditation means you are not Christian anymore, you are Hindu. Nothing like that. Most of the Hindu people, they just worship in the temple, they never practice meditation, they never practice in Advaita philosophy as well. And the most Christians, they just go to the church and they are not interested in the real message of the Jesus. So the social part of religion, Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, whatever, they are not interested in self-inquiry. But real Christianity, real Vedic wisdom is about exactly this. And I don't want to mention any particular shloka from like Bhagavad Gita and discuss it. Maybe some other time we can discuss some particular part of Bhagavad Gita. But anyway, Bhagavad Gita is speaking about four major branches of yoga. It's like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga. And the Raja Yoga is an ancient name for the Kriya Yoga, actually. And of course, really speaking, we have a much greater number of kinds of yoga, like Hatha Yoga, Mantra Yoga, Lucid Dream Yoga, ritual yoga, puja yoga, and we have so many kinds of yoga. But in the Bhagavad Gita, we have four like major branches, and the message according to the Kriya Yoga tradition is that it's impossible to pick up one and say, okay, I'm only Jnana Yogi. Okay, pick another one, like I say, I'm only Bhakta. No, all branches of yoga, all types of yoga, they may really bring result, spiritual result and self-realization when you practice all of them simultaneously. They're all interconnected. So it means I remember that it was a kind of tricky, divinely tricky question. A few times Satya Sai Baba, I remember how he asked some of his devotees, like, oh, come on, do you want to practice Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga? You have to choose. And then people say, oh, Bhagavan, so what can I do? I have to choose. But this is a tricky question, because really its trick is that's impossible to divide, for example, Bhakti Yoga from Jnana Yoga. Not possible to divide, because if you practice Bhakti Yoga, the result is Jnana. Okay, and you can't reach the state of Jnana without Bhakti. And more than that, after Jnana is the Parama Bhakti, the supreme devotion. So the Bhagavad Gita is a perfect book for the modern people, because it's a really clear instruction how to unite, better to say reunite, okay, spirituality and the social success. The real meditation, real self-inquiry with the social life, which is service to the society, family life, any kind of business, and that's instruction and message of the Bhagavad Gita. And of course, now many people in the West, okay, they think about Yogananda is, okay, he's a guru of particular tradition, okay, but really I believe that the message of Yogananda is so universal that basically it's like, you can take, for example, okay, Bhagavad Gita. You don't need to be Hindu to read Bhagavad Gita. You don't need to be Hindu to follow Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is universal message. The same is with the Christian Bible. You don't need to be Christian to follow, the message of the Jesus. The same like Yogananda. And actually, it's a very subtle question, but let me say about this openly. I was fortunate enough to meet Swami Kriyananda 2 times in New Delhi and Rishikesh. So it was beginning of 21st century. He came to India after a long time, and he gave a wonderful speech in Delhi. It was a very famous one. Actually, I don't remember, maybe it was 2004, 2005, I don't remember exactly. But later on he came to Rishikesh, I believe the next year or something like that. And Swami Kriyananda was very careful about it. But anyway, he never mentioned about this in his books, as far as I know. But his approach, Kriyananda's approach, was that actually actually Yogananda is incarnation of Jesus. He never mentioned this in his books, and why I'm saying this openly, because Swami Kriyananda left his physical body, I don't remember when, but number of years back, and now I can say it openly, this kind of secret. But Swami Kriyananda, he was thinking about Yogananda as incarnation direct, exactly incarnation of the same soul, the same personality of the Jesus. And Yogananda never himself actually mentioned about this, but it was some tips actually anyway in Yogananda's book about this. But we know pretty much openly that Yogananda is incarnation of Arjuna. So when we take Bhagavad Gita, okay, Krishna, actually that's Mahatar Babaji. And Arjuna, who was like one of the chief disciples of Krishna, not only the disciple, because we have another huge disciple, Uddhava. Uddhava is a very famous and very important disciple of Krishna. And but Arjuna later on incarnated as a Yogananda. That we know pretty much openly. But the question is that, Arjuna could easily incarnate as Jesus and then later on as Yogananda. And actually it's difficult to discuss right now, but it is very much possible. In my heart I feel that it is very much possible, because the level, the brightness, the power of Yogananda was actually, it was a guru, like Jesus level guru. So it means it is very much possible. And anyway, I advise to everyone to read and contemplate, not just read, but seriously contemplate the message of these commentaries written by Yogananda on Bhagavad Gita and New Testament, because that's the huge source of spiritual understanding. And I'm very happy that here in the 21st century, we the Kriya Yoga practitioners, we have this kind of book as the very foundation for our philosophy of Kriya Yoga, because we have great techniques, and this is a great philosophy for the modern Western people, and generally speaking, for the modern global readership, globally speaking spiritual practitioners, and for the Indians as well. So it's a great source for the inspiration and the wisdom. So anyway, all kinds of conditioning, social, religious and scientific, ethnic conditioning, also very powerful in some countries. It's like in the United States, and most of the communities, they reject ethnic conditioning. Not in all ethnic groups in the United States, but mostly they like to be free from ethnic conditioning. But in Oriental countries, in some European countries, people, they have a huge ethnic conditioning as well. But the social conditioning, religious, political, scientific, that's universal, that everywhere. And that conditioning, the main point is to make you slave, to make you depending on, political system, diaspora, religion, church, community, congregation, any...
And they actually like when you don't like yourself.
Yes, our society, in a sense, like political system in all parts of the world, religious, social religious communities, they're very happy that you are slave. They're very happy that you are not appreciate yourself and respect yourself, because if you become free person, oh my God, what to do with you? Then you may, behave not according to the instruction. And the illusion of modern democracy, I'm sorry to say, is that we have a freedom of choice in a trivial questions. Okay, do you want so-called traditional marriage, or do you want one same-sex marriage? You're free to choose. I believe that very soon they will let to marry animals. Even now, I'm not sure about the reality of that, but in some parts of the United States they really discuss the chance to marry yourself. And some American friends, they told me that in some parts of the United States they have a legal permission to marry yourself. And also you can marry dolls, sexual dolls, toys, or sexual toys, or dolls, and all that kind of stuff.
Can you marry our car?
You can marry your car. It depends on your level of your fantasy, and that's freedom of choice. I mean, if you wish to proclaim that you're alien, you can say, I'm not a human being, I'm alien. I'm free to choose my, that's my freedom of choice. But that's all crazy stuff. The real choice is very difficult. To be really independent from the social opinion is extremely difficult stuff. Mostly, okay, now I have a black t-shirt, but if I'm free to choose, I may to take red one, or blue one, or white one. I may whatever. That's our freedom. But real freedom, not a childish one. The real freedom is very difficult. You have to be free from conditioning. And how to start appreciate yourself. You have to be free from social, ethnic, religious, scientific conditioning. And for that you have to join proper, lectures, seminars, read proper books. What does it mean, proper books? Okay, if you ask me any example, okay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, greatest American person, American philosopher, American human being. Dr. Wayne Dyer, read his books. That's the first step to appreciate yourself. The proper self-education, that's the first step. And Wayne Dyer is the best first step. And I mean to say, it is impossible to practice real meditation or real self-inquiry and go for that, to start this huge quest for the Lord God in your heart. It's impossible if you can't love yourself, appreciate and respect yourself. You have to start with this. And then you can really practice self-inquiry and meditation and really experience oneness. Because if you hate yourself, if you think that you are not good enough in any sense, that's what actually society wish, any kind of society, because that's easier to manage with such a people. Yeah, self-education. Self-education. And what is the problem is that the legal education, like all that universities, they may teach you professional skills, but real knowledge is absent there, at least at the moment. Maybe soon something may change. But if you wish to be medical doctor, lawyer, whatever, artist, then you can get this kind of knowledge and education from the university and a college. But real self-knowledge and self-respect, impossible. Then you have to be brave enough and start your self-education.